Everyone assumes that Panama is the obvious choice. The dollar economy, the flights to Miami, the expat community, and golden visa that Panama offers. I get it. I looked into all of it. And I still chose Paraguay instead. I'm Caleb, based in Paraguay, and let's get into it. Now, before I get into why I chose Paraguay specifically, let's give Panama its credit where it's due. Because if you've been researching this, you've probably already seen why Panama looks incredible on paper. First, Panama's infrastructure is legitimately first world in many areas. The roads are good, the hospitals are JCI accredited, and the internet almost everywhere is stable, reliable, and high speed. It's also a dollarized economy, so there's no currency risk, and flights to Miami are about 3 hours and New York 5. So you have easy access to the United States. So for Americans who want modern comforts with great connectivity, this is really hard to beat. Additionally, the expat community is established and large there. You have Boquete, Coronado, Panama City, all with built-out networks of English-speaking residents who have been there for years. It's no wonder why Internations ranked Panama the #1 expat destination in both 2024 and 2025. And the Pensionando retirement visa is one of the most generous in the world too. For only $1,000 a month in pension income, you get discounts on everything from electricity to restaurants. So yeah, Panama is a legitimate option. And I'm not here to trash it, and I'm not going to deny that. But I am going to tell you what I found when I went deeper. So here's what really changed my mind. Back in 2020, you can get a permanent residency directly in Panama via the Friendly Nations visa program with only a $5,000 bank deposit. That's it. $5,000 and you're a permanent resident in Panama. That was an incredible deal. Unfortunately, in 2021, the rules changed. An Executive Decree 197 killed the Friendly Nations visa, which killed the permanent residency access for only $5,000 investment. Now you get a 2-year provisional period first, and unfortunately, the $5,000 minimum went to $200,000. And that can either go towards a property purchase or a bank deposit to even qualify in the first place. That is a massive, massive change. This means that the cheapest path to get Panama residency in 2026 costs you $200,000, and that only grants you provisional status at first for 2 years before you can even apply for the permanent residency. Compare that to what it was 6 years ago, and that is a pretty big change. On top of this, Panama's golden visa currently requires $300,000 investment in real estate. But shortly after, in October 2026, that threshold jumped to $500,000. So even the investor path is getting more expensive quickly. And then there's banking. If you're an American, opening a Panama bank account can come with some problems. Firstly, FATCA compliance means some Panama banks can just outright deny American applicants. Additionally, the process can take weeks to months. And thanks to the Panama Papers legacy, some European banks will even flag transfers originating from Panama accounts. That stigma is still very real. Next factor, the cost of living. Panama was a bargain 10 years ago. Since then, prices have gone up 45%. A couple spending comfortably in Panama City, that's going to run you $3,000 to $5,000 easily a month, which is approaching Southern Europe prices, especially in the desirable neighborhoods. So if you're looking for monetary leverage, especially spending in dollars or euros, you're not going to get it as much anymore in Panama, if at all. Now, even though the bargain era is over, none of this makes Panama a bad destination per se, but it's just not the slam dunk that it used to be, so keep that in mind. The door that was wide open in 2020 with the Friendly Nations visa, pay $5,000, get your permanent residency, has closed very hard here in 2026. And by the way, if you are comparing countries and want to figure out what works for you, specifically, if you can make your life work here in Paraguay and build a base, book a strategy call with our team on the ground. Link is in the description below. All right, so Panama this, Panama that, but what about Paraguay? Let's get into it. Because surprisingly, Paraguay is still not on a lot of folks' radar. And it was not even on mine either until I started doing my homework. Now let's get into the real deal. Once you get your schedule in Paraguay, you get full rights from day one. I'm talking banking, tax ID, work rights, lease signing. All that starts immediately once you get your cedula, which is your Paraguay national ID card. Now there's technically a 2-year conversion period from your temporary residency to your permanent residency, but that's purely administrative. You get all the same benefits. Your life starts in day one. So quick timeline for your reference, although this is subject to change and subject to the government, okay? But a typical period can look like this. I came in November 2023. I got my temporary residency card by January 2024. I got my cedula March 2024. And now almost 3 years later, I have my permanent residency. Nothing changes. I'm a permanent resident. I get to enjoy the benefits. That was a huge bullish factor on the Paraguay residency process. Another thing, there's no minimum investment required to get it. Just bring your documents, work with a trusted provider, boom, you get it. Now, if you are an investor with capital to deploy and you want to go straight to permanent residency, Paraguay did just release its investor pass. I did drop a video recently that covers it all, link in the description. But in summary, it's $150,000 on tourism projects, or $200,000 on real estate or the stock market, and you go straight to permanent residency. Now, of course, that's not for everybody, but the point is that's almost half of what Panama's investor route costs. And you go straight to permanent residency. You don't have a 2-year intermediate period like you do in Panama. So benefit there, leverage there. Paraguay, come on. Now let's get into taxes, because both countries benefit from territorial tax systems. 0% tax on foreign income, but the local rates are completely different. Let's get into those. Paraguay is 10% personal income. Panama runs a progressive scale up to 25%. So if you're earning locally, that gap matters. Okay, next, cost of living. I broke this down fully in my Paraguay cost of living video, link in the description. But for summary, I pay for a family of 4, myself, my lady, our baby, and doggy, $2,000 a month, and live very, very good here in Paraguay. I'm talking balcony views, sauna and building, grass-fed steak every day. You know the deal. It is a comfortable life. This same lifestyle would run me $4,000 plus easy in Panama City. That gap is real. You're looking at a 50% premium in cost of living from Paraguay to Panama. Okay, next thing, banking for Americans. Both are challenging. Paraguay banking can be very, very frustrating, but once you get your banking set up, that's it, you're good, and no one else really bothers you. Which is another point that Paraguay is not a CRS participant. Panama is, and what that means in plain English is that Panama banks can automatically share your account information with tax authorities in other countries if they want to. Paraguay does not. They simply leave you alone once your stuff is set up. Now for investors structuring internationally, this can be a deal breaker. Now beyond all the numbers and financial jargon, here's something that tipped the scale more than anything else for me. Panama is more cosmopolitan. It's international, dollarized, modern, amazing infrastructure. It's built to be familiar and plug and play to Westerners. The expat community's been there for 20 plus years. English is widely spoken. You can land in Panama City fresh off the boat from the United States and feel comfortable day one. And for a lot of folks, that's exactly what they want. Paraguay is a completely different energy, and it really is hard to explain unless you come here and feel it yourself. Paraguay is its own little isolated bubble and culture, and it's genuinely disconnected from the noise and from the rest of the world. Now, this can be a positive or a negative depending on who you are. But what this does mean is that there's no geopolitical anxiety in the air. There's no hustle, grind culture like I'm used to back in the States, and no one cares about performance. It's literally a blank slate. People are here living their lives. You sit, you drink tereré for hours, you have asados with the family on Sundays. There's sobre mesa culture where you sit around the table and just chat for hours after dinner. Eating and talking are both part of the same dinner experience. It's not just eat, go. Eating, talking is both. Took some time for me to get used to because I get sleepy after eating all this meat. But that's the beauty of it here in Paraguay. The focus is on the here and now. People are present. And I felt this on day one, stepping off the plane. My nervous system took a breath of fresh air. I relaxed for the first time in years. And that Paraguay's unique environment supports that relaxation. And this is something that's very, very felt once you come here. And for me, that was worth more than any other comfort that Panama could provide. It's honestly like Paraguay is stuck in the 90s, but in the best way possible. People are sitting, eating, laughing. Kids are playing, smiling. It's sunny. People try not to stress the BS too much here, man. And the culture and people really do reflect that here. Which is why the longer you stay, the more it seeps into you, and eventually you become a part of it too. And that's why I've stayed here 3 years, and why the expat community here is also extremely quality. It's smaller, it's more low-key, but the people that do come here, I have noticed, per capita, are more quality folks. I'm talking builders, long-term thinkers, intellectuals, family-oriented folks, people who want to live, who want to put their roots down, who have a good positive mindset, and are contributors to this world, to this economy, and to life. To me, that's a positive. I like to be surrounded by people like that, and Paraguay attracts them. But I'm not going to pretend that Paraguay is better than Panama in every way either, because it's simply not. Panama outclasses Paraguay in many, many places. Panama wins in flights, 3 hours to Miami, 5 to New York. For Americans, that is in Paraguay, you got to connect through Sao Paulo, you got to connect through Buenos Aires, and then you can go to Miami. So if frequency or ease of travel back to the U.S. is an issue for you, you got to weigh that pro and con here. Infrastructure too, there's huge infrastructure gaps here in Paraguay. The roads are bumpy, they need a lot of work, all right? When it rains, it floods, the whole city becomes a river. Now they're working on it, but that is a huge problem. There's power outages that happen frequently, a couple times a month, right? Paraguay is nowhere near the infrastructure level of Panama, so consider that too. That said, the nice areas, the Gringo Circle that I lay out actually in my Paraguay-based blueprint, the Gringo Circle areas, super well developed. Amazing malls are top class. Paseo La Galeria, Shopping Sol, these places, cafes, Café de Acá, amazing, amazing. But if we're talking about total development, Panama wins for sure. English too, Panama, easy. Here, English is not widely spoken, and the Spanish I spoke has a huge accent. The folks here speak Guarani as well as Spanish. and then they also mix it in the Yopara. The accent is very, very thick. It's hard for Americans to understand. I'm still trying to understand what my girl says to me sometimes, and her parents. I have no idea. It's a thick accent. It's not like Mexican Spanish or Peruvian Spanish that are clearer for our ears. So it takes a long time. Panama, more plug and play with English. And lastly, healthcare. Panama blows this place out the water for sure. JCI accredited hospitals, international standard care. Now, Paraguay has good private healthcare, okay? It's here, but it's just not on that level. So here's how I think about it at the end. Panama makes sense if you have $200,000 to invest. If you want a dollarized economy with minimal risk, easy access to the United States, established expat community, English speakers around you, modern comforts, cosmopolitan vibes, Panama works. And if you're a retiree specifically, the Pensionando visa is one of the best in the world. Paraguay makes sense if you want something completely different. Not just cheaper and simpler, but genuinely different. Like a place that's disconnected from the global noise with zero intention to perform for others. Simply its culture, itself, and you come and you absorb in or you don't. Additionally, if you want lower taxes, an early stage real estate market to take part of, and world-class grass-fed steak, Paraguay, 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 without sacrificing quality life. Of course, you got top-class gyms, restaurants, malls, all the comforts here. You are not roughing it by any means. And for me, I prefer this, so that is why I'm here. So that's the comparison, Panama, Paraguay, the full research, and why I chose Paraguay. And if you do want help figuring out which path is for you, you can book a strategy call with our team. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.